Alright, so I'm baling hay. I had some questions from people. They're like, aren't you baling hay anymore? Like, yeah, I still bale hay. Why? Well, you're not showing any baling videos. Well, I'm baling. You can look. I'm baling on that steep field. I have to really slow down now. I'm going in 8th gear. I should have baled this a month ago, but I just didn't have, I had other stuff to do in another area and nobody was complaining about this. So, yeah, so I'm baling monster windrows, going up a hill. Some of them are pretty big. They're not by any means perfect. I would much rather have larger windrows, but yeah, this is where we're at. Kind of scary. My wife will not bale these. Tim doesn't like stacking them. I don't particularly like baling them either, but it's what we got to do, you know. It's what we got to do. I've got to get this job done, and if you look, everything you see out in front of me, way out there, I'll show you. You see where those houses out on the horizon are? There's this far, 1, 2, 3 fields down there in a row. 1, 2, 3, way to hell down there. And then there's, to the right, there's 1, 2. If you look really, really, really hard, you should be able to see Timothy down there raking. But you won't be able to. Yeah, there he is. Way down in the far corner, I see him going. Grant is over here someplace with, this is so steep I have to put my foot on the brake because the baler will push me sideways down this hill. And you can't understand how steep this is by sitting where I'm sitting, unless you're in the baler with me. But you can see the tops of those cedar trees over there. Those cedar trees are 30 feet tall, 25 feet tall on top of the hill. Actually, over the edge of the hill a little bit. But, yeah. It's just scary business doing this farm. Once you learn how to do it, it's no big deal. But we have baled, between me and Teresa, close to 5,000 bales, which is about half of what we had done in the past. I've let farms go because the mushroom barns do not, they're waning in their hay purchasing, so I'm letting that go. I have, well, let's put it this way. I've let farms go. I didn't fertilize to the point where I would be going, producing 3 ton to the acre. I'm only producing maybe 2 ton to the acre. I have tightened these bales up. They're pushing somewhere. Well, with Teresa's baler, we were running 1,700 pound bales. So we've changed we've just changed our operation. We're going into more grain. I can plant corn on this farm, but not this field. I would never put corn on this field. It would just be an absolute nightmare. So we're at 8, we're at 7th gear. I'm hoping that I don't break traction, because if you do, you claw up these steep parts. You don't ever, it's really bad if you break traction here. And this tractor, I did not put the front weights on it this time. I normally pull the push bar off and put front weights on, but I didn't do it this year just because I just didn't have the time. We're out of time. I mean, I'm working on the combine, and I'm working on balers, and I'm working on tractors, and I'm working on just life in general, getting things ready to go, the grain dryer, the grain bin, moving wheat. Got all the wheat gone, but I haven't been paid for it, so that's another bit of a pain in the neck. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to, just gotta deal with what I've got. I don't farm anything out there, at least within view. I do have a farm over not too far from here, but this is beef cows. And then a friend of mine I grew up with, he lives or he doesn't live there, but he farms over there. Yeah. And then there's a guy that absolutely hates my guts because I exist, and he can't seem to get what he wants, when he wants, and how he wants it, because, well, I don't know. I really don't know what the reason behind that is, but it is what it is, and that's life. But yeah, now this farm actually looks pretty good. My son goes to school right over there, and in a few minutes, let's see, what time is it? It's 2:29. At about 2:45, I'm gonna drive this tractor over there, and I'm gonna pick him up. I have his name tag with me because they claim that I cannot pick up my son unless I have a name tag, and even if I am who I say I am, they don't recognize me. I can't, so I grabbed his name tag. That's right there. But Teresa's she had to go deal with a car swap. Our Ford Edge ST has been in the shop for almost 2 months, believe it or not. It didn't throw any codes, but it was given a weird, funky weird feeling when you're driving it. It was doing something mechanical, and I told them, I said, look, this thing feels like a torque converter is locking and unlocking. I've had that experience before, and they're like, well, if it was that, it would have threw codes. I'm like, okay, all right. So then they come back and they're like, we found the problem, no big deal, it's the rear end that's got problems. Okay, no problem, fix it. It's under warranty. So they're like, okay, we fixed the rear, you can come pick your car up. And then 20 minutes later, the woman calls back, she said, I took your car for a test drive, it's doing the same thing. It's not that. I was like, I'm telling you, I think it's the torque converter. He's like, well, I don't know, there's no code, so I can't tell you. So anyway, yeah. About a week and a half ago, or no, 2 days ago, not a week and a half ago, 2 days ago, or maybe it was even just yesterday, we hadn't heard anything. So I told Teresa, I said, look, you're gonna have to call them up and find out what the deal is. And she called them, and the woman says, yeah, we found out what it is. It's the torque converter. I love it when I'm right. I love it. You know, these guys have had that car for 2 months, couldn't figure it out. For the first 2 to 3 weeks, they drove it around trying to figure this thing out, and they couldn't because it didn't throw a code. But the dumb farmer that plays in the dirt all the time, he says, I think it's a torque converter. If they'd have just changed the torque converter, we wouldn't have had anything. We'd be driving our car. But we've been driving rental cars for 2 months, literally 2 months. And Teresa had to turn in the second one because it's been with us for over a month. She turned that in today. They gave her a brand new car to drive with 42 miles. So that's what's going on there. I don't know what that guy's up to. But you can see better how high up I am. Way down there I gotta go. All of this ground. I like this farm. I've been farming this now for 8 years. Been enjoying it for 8 years, I guess. I don't know how long I'll be able to continue farming it because, you know, it is what it is. You know, none of these farms are permanent. You know, they could be houses in a few years. You know, you just don't ever know. And that's steep as hell too. But you can see where they plowed this farm. I mean, this field, they actually plowed this. I do believe they plowed it with horses. But you can see there's center furrows up here on this steep ass shit. And they plowed with the hill. They didn't plow across the hill, which I thought was crazy. But you'll see them here and there, that the center furrows. But I don't know. And then you'll see washouts like this. I haven't created any washouts on this farm. Just try to do the best I can and go around those washouts and just keep the hay in good condition. Because if you don't, you'll create washouts. Alrighty, I'm gonna go back up this hill. many bales I've made. 27, 37, 47, 57. Yeah, I really haven't made that many bales. It's just a matter of, it's just scary doing this job. So anyway, I guess I'll shut up now. That's the haymaking video that you're going to get. Yes, I still make over 2,000 acres of hay. I still have a few hundred acres to go. Just a few. We're getting them. We're getting them though. We're knocking them out. Alright, so I'm off of the hillside over there, and the second baler showed up. So that's proof that the burnt baler did become resurrected. You know, that was 9275. Don't know if it's put out yet. And it's kind of got an idea. God darn it, man, I want to hear you. I got asked if I ever got it fixed. Well, here's this one, and there's the other one that we fixed, and she's running it, and that's it. There is a couple of things that need to be done to it yet. High on the list of things to do. The problem is, I've ordered these parts and they're not coming in. And there ain't nothing I hate worse is when you order parts for something and they don't come in. They're coming in, they're just taking a while. And I found this with the combine as well. The combine, you should be able to get all the parts you want right away. In my opinion, there's no reason, no reason for these parts to not be available right now. Right now, because it's harvest time. And when it's harvest time, things break. It's just a fact. People need things. Things wear out mid-harvest. You know, you could have a guy overlook something as simple as the concaves in your combine, and you know, which it happens. You could overlook the concaves in your combine, get halfway through your harvest and be like, God, why is this combine chewing this corn? Or why is it splitting beans? Why can't I get it adjusted correctly? Why is it that there's kernels of corn still on the cob? Why is my re-thrasher working like crazy? You know, you just don't know. Anyways, parts aren't available, and they should be. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a white-headed, white-tailed buzzard out there, the American bald eagle. There he comes. They're kind of beautiful. They are nice to see. Here he comes, he's gonna land. Here comes another one right over my head. So we must have a pair of bald eagles here, because that's two. There's two of them right here. I've seen, there's another one, it's a juvenile. I saw it, it looked like a damn condor. A juvenile does not have a white head and tail. They're just black. They kind of look like a buzzard, only much larger. And if mom and dad decide they're going to kick, oh, here he is, right in front of me. Look at him right there. If you can zoom in, I would suggest you do it. He's just kind of there grabbing something to eat. He's got it in his mouth. Hopefully I get a decent photo of him. He ain't wasting no time. Welcome to the wilds of New Jersey. That's cool as hell. That's actually a young bird too. It's got still black tips on his tail. But she's gonna get a good look at it now. That woman right there, she really likes to see the eagles. Something you don't. They do have eagles in the Philippines, but they're not like that. They're different. They're different, much different. Alrighty then. That's what I've got. Boxes of goodies, right? These bolts, right? Excuse me, but these bolts were $2 a piece. I've got a bolt that Steve had bought out at where he picked up the combine, and it looks exactly the same, right? So this bolt has a part number of 845-28927. This bolt has a part number of 904-46024, right? This is Taiwan, this is Taiwan. $2 and $6.20. They're exactly the same, just made by a different bolt manufacturer. So I was going to get nuts with these things. $2 for this and $4.20 for the nut. $4.20 for the nut. So I was like, you know what? I don't need the nut. Got plenty of nuts. There's 24 of them right up in there. See them? They're just a regular metric machine nut, and I do have more of those that came off the corn planter. So it's crazy how they do this, the bolt shuffle or whatever you want to call it. And that's just for the snoot. So when I take them out, I'll show you what they look like. These are the round bar extensions, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off of there. It's been taken off and beat up and thrown around. So I'm going to show you the difference between the old one and the new one. So the old one is here. I want to show you all this. Here's an ear of corn that is mature, fully ready. This is one, I planted this corn on July 5th, and it's got a very shallow kernel. That was pulled 5 days ago. It is definitely, if I get frost today, it'll be okay. Look at the depth of it. It's not great, but it'll be fine. This guy here, that's a big bastard. Those are good. So here's the, I'm gonna pull that off of there real quick. Ugh. Can't get that out. Well, here's the old grate. Oh, come on, Wesley. This one here is not terrible. Could have probably got away with this, except right here. I'm trying to do a side-by-side comparison. We got Aunt Beth. She wants to be on YouTube. Hi, Aunt Beth. What are you planning the water for?
You're gonna break your things.
I don't know where we left off before. My parents showed up, my aunt was here, and now I'm back to this. So you can see, if you look at this, you'll be able to see why I'm replacing it. Maybe you can see, I don't know, this camera may or may not do it justice. But nice and straight, not stoved in, not wavy. And I will give it to New Holland. They did do some improvements. I'm hoping I can show you this on here. Just looking at this one here. This is a 2012 one out of this combine. It could be out of a different combine, but you know, I don't know. This has been re-welded. They broke this bar out of there. You can see it there and there. Whether it just broke and they just tacked it back together, it's bent all to hell. But if you look at this one, they actually made it thicker here, taller, so that it would have a little more strength and rigidity. And hold on a second, because I've got a dial caliper here. What is the electronic dial caliper? Yeah. So I know that Krone is real good about doing this stuff, make it thicker. 7.5. And then you get over to this. I know somebody's going to say it's paint thickness, but it's not. There is a little bit of paint on it, but 8.2. So that's a lot thicker. Same with this. 8.2, and get to here. 7.8 there. That's a little bit thinner. Yeah, 7.7, 7.8. Yeah, nice. So we've got those, and of course I've got the new concave, the main concave. These are 2-piece concaves. What I've learned is that New Holland, here, I'm gonna put that dial caliper there, and I'll grab this old one. You'll be able to see where the wear is on these things when I get this over here. I know a lot of folks don't show it. Ugh. I did have somebody tell me, hey, you could just rebuilt that yourself, and I agree. I could have put new round stock on, but they bend out here, they twist a little bit, and then it ain't great, you know. Those pins, where's that one? So this pin goes through the concave. Let me get it, hold on a second. I'm gonna flip it over so y'all can see what I got going on here. I want to do it so that it's right. Okay. So you can see the round bar is now flat there. That's where it forces into the concave. You can see, same thing, this stuff is flat. These are flat, worn, beat up. Obviously, you can see that those are a bit thicker. They've used a heavier gauge steel on the concaves, so that's good. There's a little bit of bent there from rocks or whatnot, but if you look at them, they're all round. And with all this wear here and no wear here, it's going to thrash a whole lot better. These are flat, so what would happen is it would roll across there and actually pinch instead of, you know, knock the grain from the cob. So it's just a good choice to get rid of these and put new ones in. You can see that these are bent, just bent all to hell. I don't think you can see, but you can see that they're bent in. So anytime you have bends and stuff like that, it just makes it that much harder for the combine to do its job. And we want it to do its job, and we want it to do it well. So what I'm gonna do, and if you saw my Instagram, you saw that Teresa was inside this combine. She was actually in there, and she was inspecting the forcing cone where, you know, where the elephant ears are to push it up into the rotor, and they look okay. There's no real main issues there. I'm not going to complain about them anyway. But yeah, so getting close. Just did a moisture test here on this corn. It's raining today. 23%, 22%, 21% in this bucket. So it's probably a go, no go, I guess is what they say when you're about to launch a rocket. Go, no go, but it's a go. This little sensor here, this is the old one. Somebody screwed it up into the star wheel and chewed the end of it up, ruining it. 150 bucks, thank you very much. And that's a real asshole of a spot. That thing is right up in here. Let me turn the light on. I did this last night, but it's way up in there. You see the little star wheel in there? That under the wires. That is where that goes. And they had that thing smashed up in there so tight that it just, yeah, it was smashed up in there so tight that it bent the star wheel really bad. So that had to be replaced. You know, no big deal. Just one of those things you got to do. Whether you want to do it or not, you got to do it. So that's it. And that hinge, I'm going to squirt some oil back on that hinge because that thing, it's on steel, you know, and there's a lot of weight up front here on this. I might pull that front wedge out. I think I might pull it out. I'm not sure. Drop the header down, pull the wedge out, and then grease it. There's no grease zerks or anything there, but I never liked it running dry like that. So that's just me, but whatever. Yeah, so I got to do that. And we'll be on to the next thing. My parents are going to another farm to pick up some ears that need to be gotten, and we'll go ahead and do that. So, whew, I gotta lug these heavy ass things up in there and chuck them in. These go in the top, and these go in the bottom, and we can lock those in place and then put in these grates here. This grate is brandy spanking new. This one's been beat around a warehouse for a while. You can tell. I don't know how much difference there is, but you know, depends on where it's made. These are made in Brazil. Can't make anything here anymore. These combines are really foreign. They're really foreign machines. Iveco engines, and they used to be made right out here in New Holland, Pennsylvania, but not no more. Not no more. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stuff that up in there and curse and swear, and yeah, I'm going to turn the lights on this thing so I can see a little better. But in order to do that, I want to put my battery charger on, because the batteries, I think they're a bit weak right now. Oh, come on. The batteries are definitely a little bit weak. So, oh, I'm having you all over the place. And I don't want them to be ruined.